Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, NBA fans, lovers, and fanatics. Welcome to the second episode of the Mambas Nest. I'm Corey Waldron, and we have with me Jose. And guest appearing today, and hopefully on for further shows, we have Chris Berger. Guys, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. What's going on? All right, so let's start off with what everybody in the NBA seems to talk about before anything else. Golden State Warriors are now 24-0. Berger, I don't know if you watched the game. I have League Pass, so me and Jose watched the game last night. And despite not having Klay Thompson, despite not having Harrison Barnes, despite Stephen Curry having 4 personal fouls, and despite Draymond Green having 5 personal fouls with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they still ended up winning in double OT.
Yeah, I tuned into the San Antonio game last night, so they were like simulcasting it at the same time. So during halftime, they showed the overtime period. But I mean, when you're listening to all these analysts, and they're telling you you can't live and die by the jump shot, you can't live and die by the three. This team just won a championship last year doing that, and they're 24-0 this year. So they're defying all possible, everything you're taught not to do. They're doing it, and they're winning.
Barkley says it all the time. He goes, what did he say last year? A jump shooting team can never win a title.
Yeah, but they're not strictly jump shooting. I mean, they do play defense. Last year, for the longest time, they were number 1 in the league in defense. They're probably at least top 5 this year. But they got Draymond Green. He's the anchor man. Last night, what do you have? 24, 11, 8, 5, and 5?
And 5 fouls, yeah. He had a – whatever that is, a Cinco
First
double.
guy to put up those numbers since Hakeem in the 90s.
A Cinco double.
Actually we watched the game with with a couple kids. One of them, Exxon, if you're gonna watch this, you are a bandwagon Warrior fan. You are, but he asked who the second best player on the Warriors is, and it's actually a pretty good question. Is it Klay or is it Draymond?
I mean, it's kind of the debate you have all the time of who's the best player of all time. Are you going to talk about who's the best scorer, or are you going to talk about who has the best all-around game? But I think Draymond Green is, besides Curry, is the most important player to that team.
I mean, I don't think they would have won last night if Draymond was out. I think it's different. Like if Draymond's out and not Klay, I think they lose last night.
How he plays allows them to go small. It allows them to go smaller than any other lineup. I mean, the guy's only 6'8", and he's playing the 5.
True. No thoughts, Jose?
So, yeah, I see what you're saying with that. Also, the fact that I wanted him to get fouled out so bad because I know it would have had the craziest impact on them had he gotten fouled out. Well, and, he had 5 fouls for, both double OTs and did not get fouled out. And they played him throughout, both of them, which is, a solid, 8 minutes. I'm waiting for him to just test his luck, and he did not do it.
That's true, actually, and that's kind of crazy if you think about it. With 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I want to say it might have been 7. He picked up his 5th personal, and he played the rest of the game in both OTs without getting his fouling out. That's incredible, to be honest.
Just freaking, it's unbelievable, man. It's crazy. I wanted him to get fouled out. I wanted him. It's one mistake. It's all he needed. Curry 2 mistakes. Had they both been out, we would have been had a completely different story to talk about today.
Instead, Bradley fouls out in the first OT.
Yeah. Bradley freaking fouled out.
I don't think they're so worried about playing hard defense at that point because they know they can score with anybody. So once they get 5 fouls, just you know what? We'll play good D, but we're not going to do anything stupid because we know we're just going to hit a 3 or something and pick it up.
And that's the craziest thing, too. All night, we're sitting here watching the game, and I kept saying it in my head. I didn't really say it out loud. I was like, Curry's having a bad game. He's not doing good tonight. And then look at the stat sheet. He's got 36 points, 38 points. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's having a bad night.
I mean, I only saw the overtime, but his body language did not look good even in overtime. He just looked disinterested almost. He was having such a bad game. He was just yeah, I'm not even doing anything. I'm not even doing right now. Somebody else has to pick me up.
First shot of the game, he airballed. First shot he took, he airballed.
Yeah, me and Corey gave each other that look. We were like, what's going on here, man? We don't know.
Yeah, it was a 15-footer, and he airballed it. I was like, ooh.
He did a really good job. Avery Bradley was playing. He was like off those screens because that's all they freaking want. Those screens to get Curry open. He's cutting. He's going past those big men. He's staying on them. Curry still dropped, a good amount of points because that's what, any superstar is going to do, even when they have a tremendous D on them. But, no discredit to Bradley because he did a tremendous job.
I mean, with Curry, his game is based on threes, man. He takes enough threes. He's going to make enough of them to give him 30 points.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many threes he took last night. I don't feel like he even took that many. Or I don't feel like he made that many. I don't remember. He didn't make any crazy circus threes last night.
But he was in double digits in free throws made last night, though, right?
Yeah, he drove a lot. He was in the paint.
I think he had like 14 made. 14 for 14.
I don't think he missed one. So, there's half his points right there from the line.
Now, the real winners, though, last night were the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Because now if Barnes and Clay are out again, they play today. Well, it's 8:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Western time. They play the Bucks, though.
It's a tough matchup coming off double OT, but everybody's a little high on the Bucks. But until they prove otherwise, they're still the Bucks.
No, I don't think any. I mean, I'm not high on the Bucks this year. They're awful. They're one of the worst defenses in the league this year. Greg Monroe has messed up chemistry. They're not a lockdown, as Jose would say. They're not lockdown.
Well, I mean, when you got O.J. Mayo on your team, he's not playing D.
Hey, let's not forget O.J. Mayo was the next LeBron James on Dime Magazine. O.J. Mayo was the next LeBron James, guys. So,
O.J. Mayo is like freaking J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
He can heat up, but when he's cold, he's ice cold, and he don't play any defense, so he's not helping you if he's on the floor.
I can't remember the last time actually I saw O.J. Mayo in highlights. When the last time you saw an O.J. Mayo highlight?
The whole Knicks game, he played the whole second half as an O.J. Mayo highlight.
Oh, when they played the Bucks last week?
God, the dude wouldn't miss.
That's a good segue. How about them New York Knicks? Porzingas.
New roster, changes, same old Knicks. Same old Knicks. They came out the gate hot, and everybody got excited, and now it's back to the same old Knicks. Same old Knicks we know and love. They can't get anything done. They're more competitive this year. They're playing better defense, but they still have one of those quarters where you're like, this is still the New York Knicks. They just can't get rid of it. They play a solid 3 quarters, and there's 1 quarter in the game. Can't do anything. They can't make a shot. They don't play defense. They get disinterested. And the whole team, it looks like you're running a bunch of JV dudes out there in the varsity game.
All right, now I say this all the time, Berger. You're better than most Knick fans because you don't have that New York fan mindset. You know what I'm talking about? How New York fans love you over the next, like an Eli Manning story. They love Eli. Then, oh my God, we got to get rid of Eli.
Oh yeah.
But for example, I love Knick fans. When I'm on Twitter during a Knick game, literally it's a roller coaster of emotions. There's the highs, like, oh my God, Porzingas, Melo. And then when they start losing it, that's it. We got to trade Melo. Got to fire Derek Fisher. Phil, you got to trade everybody. We need to get Porzingas superstars. You guys are just funny to watch. It really is. You guys are great.
I'm not that extreme, but I mean, you need to take my phone away when the Knicks are on because I'll go on Twitter and I'll start ranting. And
I know you did. Like 3 weeks ago, I had to tweet at you and say, "Calm down. They're rebuilding."
I understand it's rebuilding, but at the same time, it's like there's a reason 29 other teams aren't running the triangle offense.
Hey, Kobe said it best.
Square.
He said that's no fucking triangle. That's a square.
I mean, you look at it, the ball's not moving. The first unit does not know how to play in that offense. The first couple games of the season, they were moving it good, but ever since Melo's got his normal minutes back, after they stopped nursing him from the injury, and if Flalo's come back, the ball stopped moving.
Now I got to ask you, because Jose can chime in as well. Do you think Melo's time is dwindling in New York? Because I'm seeing reports that they might be interested in trying to trade Melo.
He doesn't fit in the system. It's plain and simple. When he gets the ball, everybody stops moving. The ball stops moving. They stand and watch. And they're trying to run an offense based on motion and movement, and when he gets the ball, it's just a standstill. It's, Melo's going to ISO. Let's see and watch what he does. And the only time the ball moves is when a second defender comes over and he's up in the air and he needs to throw it away so he doesn't take a bad shot.
Well, you being a Knicks fan, do you think they should trade Melo? Do you want Melo gone? Or do you think
if they're going to try to run Phil's system and try to run this system, he's not going to fit, and it's just never going to work. The way they were successful and they won 50-plus games 2 years ago, they spread the floor, ran high pick and roll, and everybody got to shoot. And that's his style of offense. If everybody can just jack it up whenever they want, spread the floor, run the game that way, they'll be all right. But this roster's not built that way. And it's not built for the triangle either. They're an in-between type team where how are they really going to play?
I can see that.
I mean, you look at Phil was successful with the triangle and, with the Bulls and with the Lakers. I don't see a Michael Jordan on this roster. I don't see a Kobe on this roster. There's not even a Pippen on this roster. There's not even a Pau Gasol. You're looking at you're supposed to have skilled players to run this style of offense that have high basketball IQ. I'm not seeing any of those type of guys that can run this system.
I mean, also, I feel like the triangle, it needs a solid point guard.
Oh,
no?
I mean, Calderon's a solid NBA point guard, but is he a starter? No. If you look at the most successful teams in the league right now, they have an explosive, dynamic combo guard he's either a 1 or a 2 that can handle the ball.
All right. I have a question now. Derrick Rose. Could he be a New York Knick? Could Derrick Rose be a New York Knick?
I don't want him. Why would I want a guy that's going to get paid to sit on the bench for 60 games a year?
Well, what I'm thinking is, I talked about this, Jose, I think we talked about this one night in the room watching games. What if the Knicks brought in Derrick Rose, had him play 30 minutes, and then gave Grant 28 minutes? Or 18 minutes, or they divided the minutes up, so Derrick Rose isn't getting those. Or what if you get Rondo? What if you get Rondo this offseason? I didn't even think about Rondo being a free agent.
Rondo's a team killer. You know what I'm saying? When they won the title in Boston, the guys in Boston didn't even like him. They said he was a selfish passer. He got 10 assists a game because he wanted to get assists, and he would throw to people that he wasn't supposed to be throwing to, and they'd jack up a shot and get him an assist. But, I mean, he destroyed that locker room. I mean, look, they had Ray Allen. You had a championship roster there, and why'd they get rid of him?
I mean, what's it called? He did okay for the Kings. And I don't think the Kings –
I feel like he's meshing well.
What?
I feel like he's meshing well with them. I like how they have 2 hotheads with DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo. And then you saw the Vine where they're where they're fighting each other with like their freaking siblings. It's fun, but he's doing good on there. He's like, how many triple doubles he has this year? Like 4?
He's 4, and he's almost averaging a triple double in his stat sheet. I'm pretty sure he's averaging. I don't know the exact.
Like old Rondo.
I mean, you brought him into his type of system. It's a dysfunctional locker room, so he fits right in.
Well, they had a team meeting following that awful start they had.
What was it? DeMarcus Cousins yelling at George Karl again?
Yeah, it was. That's exactly what it was. But they sorted things out because, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, the Kings. But if you're a King fan, you have more enjoyable basketball to watch this year, at least.
Well, I mean, if you're even just going to look at the Kings right now and you look at the Knicks roster, I mean, you got Rajon Rondo, Rudy Gay, and DeMarcus Cousins. They're all crazy talented, potential all-stars, or were all-star caliber players. Look at the Knicks roster. Melo doesn't even have another guy like that around him.
Well, I mean, I'm reading articles already where people are saying that this is Porzingas' team already.
Porzingas.
And I'm just like...
Oh, I love Porzingas. He's crazy. But, I mean, are you really going to, rely on a 20-year-old kid that's first year in the NBA that's been playing in Latvia professionally to carry your team?
Wait, my dad told me that a crazy... I'm not sure how accurate it is because I didn't check it. But he said that Porzingas has never played more than 30 games in a season.
No, their games, the way the international basketball works is much like the international soccer works. They only played 1 game a week.
Right. So he's not
minutes before.
So we need to see how he progresses the second half of this season.
But the thing you like about him is he learns quick. He's the one guy on the team that has a high basketball IQ. A lot early in the season, he didn't know how to use his length and his size and everything, and he was picking up 2 or 3 quick fouls in 5-10 minutes. You've already seen the progression now. He's just standing. He's going straight up. He's, I don't know if they had him watch some Hibbert film or something like that, but he's learning how to go straight up and use his length and size to affect shots and not foul anymore.
Hey, I don't know why you're laughing at Roy Hibbert. I may not be a big Roy Hibbert fan, but he was a great defender for those couple teams.
He was like that. Like I remember him in the Knicks games, and he'll always be going straight. That's all he does, going straight up. You're 7'3". You go straight up. What the hell is that? It's a freaking Great Wall of China. So, what you call it? I was gonna talk about. Oh my God, what were we talking about? The Knicks and Porzingas. Porzingas playing with actual grown men, and over there in the EuroLeague has I believe blessed him because he knows how to play. I mean, at least he knows how to play with stronger guys. You see, he's a scrawny little 20-year-old. He knows how. He's been playing with stronger guys for 2 years now. Even though it might not be like as long as the NBA is, he's still playing with stronger guys and grown men basically. So it's like he does have a bonus compared to some of these college kids that haven't been playing with that grown man strength.
Yeah, he did put he said something right before the season started. From the time he got drafted to the start of the preseason, he put on 15 pounds of muscle. So,
Man.
On a frame that big, is that a lot? No, but you like to see that he's trying to bulk up and get the size he needs to compete against some of these other 7-footers that are 250, 260 pounds.
How much is he?
Porzingas?
Yeah.
He might weigh that much, but it's just because he's that big. But there ain't that much muscle on him.
It doesn't matter. It's like spreads out so far. He needs to gain even more weight.
I mean, you look at LeBron. He's 6'8", 6'9". He's 265 all muscle. So you see how his size compared to Porzingas. If he's 260, it's just because he's just that big, and there's only you have to weigh so much when you're that big.
So he has to bulk up. Let him get to 280. Let him get to Shaq's weight. Let him get Shaq Diesel.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm curious how much Porzingas.
If he gets the Shaq weights, he's not going to be mobile. That's the most impressive part about him. A guy that's 7'3", or however tall you want to call him. You hear he's a different height every time he plays. You don't know what he's listed at, but for a guy that's that big, that can move like that and be that athletic and shoot and put the ball on the floor, you don't want him to bulk up too much because he might lose some of that quickness and agility.
All right, Porzingas weighs 220.
God damn.
Damn, I weigh more than that.
I know Jose weighs more than that. If you look at the at Dirk, it's funny. You type in Porzingas on Google, the first thing that comes up next to him is Dirk. Dirk weighs 245. So if he can get around Dirk weight,
that's probably a good spot to get him.
Yeah.
I mean, Dirk even said it because I was watching that documentary and Dirk even said it himself. Dirk's rookie year, he did horrible. And we got Porzingas, the Latvian Dirk. His rookie year, he's killing. He's in the race for rookie of the year.
I know we've talked about it. I don't think he's going to win it. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is going to win it.
I think he's going to win it.
I think it all depends on where those teams finish. If Minnesota can somehow keep it together and put up a better record than the Knicks and maybe sneak into that 8th spot in the West, which the last couple slots in the West have the Rockets and Trailblazers, getting rid of their whole roster. The last 2 spots in the West are looking like the last 2 spots in the East for the last couple of years where, 500 might do it. So if Minnesota can put up a respectable record and maybe be in a race, and Towns is still putting up numbers, he can, because the Knicks aren't going to be in it basketball the way they are. Not going to be in it.
Minnesota looks pretty solid this year.
I mean, Wiggins is playing much better than 22 a game.
I mean, I just love what Towns gives. I just love what Towns looks like. I love the grit. He's got a good fadeaway. He rebounds. He has a 3-point shot. They're pretty similar actually in play styles, Porzingas and Towns.
It's just great that Karl-Anthony Towns has a mentor to he has KG and KG's gonna teach him a lot. So it's great.
That's right.
You can't teach him how to be tough. I mean, you come out, you're that big, you were dominating in college, and you think you can come in the NBA and just throw your body with these big guys, and then you learn. But KG's going to show him. I mean, you got to be tough, you got to be nasty, you got to be physical in order to be successful as a big man in this league. And that's exactly what a guy coming out of college needs.
I agree. All right, so, Burger, Knicks, playoff team? Yes or no? It's Jose, too. Are the Knicks making the playoffs this year?
What are they right now?
They're
a 10 seed, I think.
They're like 10-15 or something. They've dropped they've won 2 of the last 10. They're sliding real quick.
I haven't watched a Knick game in a while.
They look good. They look good early, and the balls just stop moving. These guys look confused. I mean, when you watch them, it's just like there's no plan B. There's no plan B. If the first pass of the triangle or the first pass of however they're trying to set up doesn't work, they look confused. Like, what do we do now? And then it's just Calderon dribbling the ball up near half court for 20 seconds, and oh shit, let me dish it, and somebody just take a wild shot.
Yeah, the Knicks are currently a 12 seed. They got Washington, Orlando, and Detroit right now ahead of them.
I mean, honestly, if you're playing the style that the Knicks want to play, their second unit plays it much better than the first unit.
Because there's no score on the second unit, so
there's no score, but the ball moves, it flows. It's they're moving, they're playing hard. I mean, you're looking. That's the type of guys you want, but they're not talented. A lot of these guys are young guys. It's like I got Grant, and you got Galloway, Williams, Lance Thomas.
Williams was dropping like 20 in the beginning of the season, right? Well, didn't he have like 4 games where he was dropping like 20?
Well, that's one thing that's making me mad. I mean, he came out hot. The first 5-10 games of the year, he was playing incredible. He's playing so good, and because they were limiting Melo's minutes, seeing how his knee was going to feel getting back into the swing of things. And now it's just like, oh, well, Melo's back. We're going to give him his 35 minutes. And Williams is playing 10, 12 minutes a game. He was playing good. I like to see them go small like they did a couple years ago and play, Williams and Melo at the same time, put Porzingas in up at the 5, and throw in 2 guards. I mean, that lineup, you talk about athleticism and going small. That's how they were successful 2 years ago. I understand you brought in Brook Lopez to be your anchor defensively, but I mean Robin Lopez, my bad. You watch this dude play offense, it's painful to watch him try to score. You watch that hook shot in the lane, he's throwing a Heisman stiff arm out in the face of the other defender, and he's just like this crazy hook shot, and it's just like
you got rid of
pass it, please.
You got rid of Tyson Chandler. And you got Robin Lopez. Like they're pretty much identical. They're kind of like a dunk or bust, but a good defensive player.
I've been impressed with Lopez's jump shot. Actually, he can step out and hit a 15-foot jump shot with consistency, and he's pretty good from the line. But you don't. When they give him the ball in the post sometimes, let him go to work, and it's just like, have you watched his footwork and have you watched him try to put on a move in the post? You need to get this guy out running pick and rolls and doing that kind of thing, drawing defenders away from the basket.
He's his brother.
I remember Tyson. When I used to watch the Knick game when Tyson was there. Tyson couldn't create a shot or shit. Tyson can't do shit with the ball in his hands. But like you have a miss, nice putback. You set a nice pick and roll. That's a nice alley, stuff like that. But he cannot create for himself at all. You saying Robin Lopez? I haven't seen Robin Lopez. I haven't seen the Knicks play in a little while. You're saying Robin Lopez was that mid shot. They could do something because Tyson Chandler didn't have a jump shot.
Oh, I think it's definitely an improvement at especially the stage that Tyson Chandler's at in his career right now. But it's just, you like the effort that Robin Lopez gives too. He's going to contest every shot he can get to. He's going to go after every rebound, offensive rebound. And that's the one thing we weren't seeing from the Knicks last year is that type of effort. I mean, Porzingas and Lopez, when they're in the game together, it's a nightmare for the other team to try to grab a defensive rebound because these guys are coming over your back. They're jumping high. They're going after every rebound as hard as they can.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the effort's there. But, again, there's a lot of new players, a lot of young players. So the continuity's not there yet. But, I mean, running that triangle, it's a complex system. It's going to take a while to get used to. So, I mean, they need to run maybe some pick and roll, do something different until they really get that system down because if they're going to keep trying to run it, the offense is going to keep sputtering like it has.
I mean, like I said, they're rebuilding. I mean, I like where they are so far. Be blessed that you're not in a 76er rebuild that's been rebuilding for like 10 years and we still have no idea what the hell the plan is.
No, I like that. You got to like where they are, especially, we're more than halfway to the win total we put up last year. But at the same time, it's just like, if you want to run that, if Phil wants to run the triangle, Phil's got to come out of the GM chair and be on the floor being the coach.
and that will not happen.
Right now, he's just using Fisher as like basically a hologram on the court to run like
he's puppeted.
Voices through him.
Did you guys see that Mike D'Antoni is possibly going to be the next assistant coach of the 76ers?
Really?
They don't play Diaz. It is. What are you going to bring D'Antoni for?
Hey, why fix a bad thing?
Weren't they trying to bring in Jerry Colangelo, who's like the VP of USA Basketball, to try to run the team or something like that? They're trying to insert.
He's on the team. He's an advisor. I'm sure he'll quit after a year when he realizes the team has no chance of ever being good.
Did the Sixers bring him in voluntarily? I thought that was the NBA. Like the league stepped in and said, like, we got to put this guy in there because we can't let the Sixers keep doing this.
I don't know if it was. Maybe the NBA put pressure. I don't think it was a force put in. I thought they hired him. But then also I heard, I'm not sure how true this is, but the 76ers are going to possibly offer Rondo.
And Rondo would be a really good pickup because they have
no point guard.
They
don't have anything besides big men.
They don't have anything. They have three, and all.
No, they got two because the other one's going to be the next Greg Oden. He's never going to see the floor.
Yeah, don't count
on. Right? Yeah. But still, all right. You got Okafor, and you got Nerlens, and that's like two solid. That's like two solid big men, somewhat. Well, Jaleel's actually solid. Nerlens is solid defensively, but Rondo will make them better, no doubt.
But that's fine because you don't need two offensive big men. I mean, I think they complement each other good because he's athletic. Wait a minute, who did they play? It might have been the Knicks. Noel went up.
He was serving the first game of his suspension, so Okafor didn't play the game against the Knicks.
No, but I know Noel. He drove the court like a point guard and like went behind his back and then dunked. And I was like, I didn't know Noel could do that.
I mean, he can do it. You just don't want to see him do it too often.
But I mean, also, yeah, the Okafor thing with the law that needs to calm down a little bit.
I'm sure you could say the same for a lot of guys that are in his position, but because he's Jahlil Okafor and he was second overall pick in the draft, he's going to get spotlighted higher than anybody else. Same concept as getting Manziel in the NFL. How many guys you think were fucking drinking and partying and having a good time on their bye week? But because of Johnny Manziel, he gets caught. Same with Jahlil Okafor. You're 7 feet tall and you're in the streets of Boston.
Throwing fists. You stick out when you're 7 feet throwing fists. Not just fists, you're connecting fists and knocking guys out.
Wow, you're picking up dudes and throwing them into cars. I mean,
you just those guys 2-1. Knock your heel. Way to go, bro.
Fucking hole.
I have a question for both you guys because me and Jose have talked about this. I wrote an article last week about it. If you guys could draft a small forward right now, who would it be? Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Paul George, or Kawhi Leonard? Who you taking?
Kawhi.
Wow.
The reason why I say Kawhi right now, out of all those picks, is because Kawhi is young, a young buck, and he's already nasty. And he still has so much more to learn.
I mean, you watch this guy from his rookie year till now, how much he's improved in 5 years. You knew he was a great defender. You knew he was athletic. But he couldn't shoot for a lick his first 2 years in the NBA. He couldn't shoot at all. Then he developed a little three ball. And now he's putting it on the floor and he's pulling up in people's faces. I mean, you can't. That's just not something that comes easy to teach somebody in a couple years. I mean, this guy's crazy talented.
Finals MVP.
I mean, all right. I wrote in the article that Kawhi is a more efficient scorer at this point in time than Paul George because he's shooting 50% from three, or he was. He might have dropped a little bit, and 50% from the field. And in the Spurs system, he's leading the team with 22 points. And then, Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. He's going to score. He's going to get his points. He's averaging like 27 as well. LeBron's LeBron. The best all-around small forward in the game still is LeBron James. That's without debate.
There's a lot of miles on those tires.
Yeah. And then there's Paul George. I mean, obviously, I sound biased because I'm a Pacer fan. So, like, anything I say now sounds, diluted or whatever. But we have never seen Paul George play at this high of a level offensively. I mean, he had a stretch of games where he had 15 games in a row where he had 20-plus points already. He had 33 against the Warriors. He had 48 against Utah. I mean, I know they both came with losing effort, so I really don't care about those games. But this is the most consistent three I've ever seen from Paul George. And it's crazy because if Stephen Curry wasn't in the league or wasn't a 2K version of Stephen Curry in real life, then Paul George would probably be an MVP candidate, like a top candidate. But right now he's second in the pack, but it feels like there's no one even in the race because of how Curry's doing. Because George is second in the league in threes made. He's shooting 45 and 45 from the field and from three. He's averaging 27 a game and 8 rebounds and like 5 assists.
I mean, I think if you phrased it, who would you take right now to put on your team and not draft? Because, from a draft perspective, you're thinking who's the youngest, who's going to give you like the longevity, who's going to give you that? Because I'm not taking Durant or LeBron in the draft right now because, they're already, Durant's 7-8 years, LeBron's 10 plus. But if you look at Paul George, I mean, besides Durant, he's the best scorer out of that group. I mean, pure scorer out of that group. I haven't seen enough of him to see how well he defends, but I mean, but after Kawhi, he would definitely be my next pick. But I mean, he's definitely, besides Durant, the best scorer out of the 4 of those small forwards in the league.
Paul George is still a lockdown defender. I think defenders are shooting like 40. Actually, y'all didn't read my article, but Kawhi is actually having a worse defensive year than Paul George right now. Paul George defenders against Paul George are shooting 43.2%. It's close. Against Kawhi, they're shooting 43.9%. So, like, it's really close. But
Paul George has a little extra length, though, that makes you, when you go up for a shot, you might have to change your release point a little bit to try to get it over his hand. But when you're looking at the scoring aspect of that, I think Kawhi is a product of the system more, where I think if you put, Durant, LeBron, and Paul George on a team, they're going to be the focal point of your offense almost every single time. Kawhi, I don't think you want him to be the focal point. I think he's just a product because of the system he plays in. If you can be efficient, he's going to score that much. But I think if you took him and put him on like the Pacers, I don't think he'd be averaging 22 a game.
He'd be averaging more?
Corey, what did you say was the difference in shooting percentages?
In what, defensive?
Yeah.
It's 43.2 to 43.9.
Said that Kawhi Leonard is having a bad year defending.
No, I didn't say
really off of 0.7. Off of 0.7.
Okay,
are you kidding me right now?
All right. I mean,
you guys.
Kawhi's having a better year. I mean, like defensively, because he averages more steals and blocks than George. But all right, you guys caught me on that one. That was 0.7.
I was just thinking about that the whole time. I'm like, 0.7 makes him a bad defender? Like, what?
Nah, that sounds stupid for that.
But yeah, my Heat, man, they've been losing. Like the past 2 games they lost. Like
They ran into who last night?
I don't even know. Don't even ask me. Oh. They ran into the Cavs. No, they didn't play the Cavs. How they played the Pacers?
What the hell? 98-83, I believe it was. Monte Ellis finally had a good game. 24 points and 4 rebounds, 6 assists. It's been
right.
This happens all the time with the Pacers. They go out and they sign a player. Like they signed who'd they sign a couple of years ago? Evan Turner. Then they signed Leonardo Barbosa. They sign these players that come in and be an offensive spark, and they don't do anything, ever. And luckily, right now, CJ Miles is raining them. And
well, look at Barbosa now.
When you come into a system that's mostly defensive and you're just telling a guy, Yeah, we're not going to give you any really support. You're not going to get any coaching. Just kind of go out and do what you want to do, and hopefully you score some points. I mean, it's kind of hard for a player to come in and just be like, oh, yeah, here, go score 24s off the bench in 20 minutes.
True. Fair enough. I'll give you that one. No, but I think last night was an important game for the East because, like, we all know the Cavs are the best team in the East. I don't think any of us are going to say they're not. When they're healthy, they're going to be the best team in the East.
Even right now, they're not healthy. They're still the best team in the East.
Yeah, it's very true. But then, like, underneath, like, the East is ridiculous because you guys know who the 2 seed is right now?
Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte's
still early, though. There's still some teams working kinks out, getting some injuries, getting the new players in. I think by the time it's all said and done, you're going to see, like it was a couple years ago, the top 3 of the top 4 seeds are going to come from the Central, or it's going to be the Bulls, the Pacers, and the Cavs.
Not. I definitely think they're the top.
Throw the Hawks in there. They'll turn it around. They'll have a good second half, but I mean, I don't think Charlotte's going to keep it up.
Oh, the Raptors too. The Raptors have been. I always sleep on the Raptors. Like I don't know what it is. Whenever I look at the Raptors, I just go, they're okay. And then like I look at the stat sheet, I'm like, oh shit, Kyle Lowry had 27 points. Oh, DeMar DeRozan had 24 points. I'm like, these two they're arguably one of the best backcourts in the league between Lowry and DeRozan. And
why did they get rid of?
Wait, why they get rid of who?
Lou Will.
He left. They didn't get rid of him. He left. He went to.
He should have. They had a good thing going there.
I'm still confused to why he decided. Raptors, up and coming contenders, rebuilding Lakers. Oh yeah, I'm going to LA.
Just won 6th man on the Raptors.
Yeah.
Well, they probably gave him an extra $5 million a year, and he was like, I could do something with that.
What was I gonna say? Hornets. My man Batum, killing for them, man. Killing for them. I miss him. I miss him back on Portland. I want him back. Well, what can I say? At least he's killing.
They're an interesting team actually because Walker's having one of his better years so far in the league, like efficiency wise. He raised his shooting percentage a lot actually.
He's nice, and like you were saying last night, Jordan really likes him because of his heart.
That's why Jordan drafted him. Jordan picked Kemba high in the draft too, right? Like a 7 pick.
He was high.
He was high though.
He's one of the top picks in that draft.
You know what's cool? He's actually from like right near me. He's from Soundview, which is like in the Bronx. Like I can take a bus there.
He was the pick in the draft in 2011. Still, that's good.
That's pretty cool.
And I like how they brought in Jeremy Lamb. Like last night, Lamb, we watched a little bit of the game. Lamb went in for a layup and he made it, got an and one. And Kemba like ran down the baseline to where Lamb was on the ground and was like clapping and cheering for him. It's cool. What'd you say?
That was a bullshit layup. Just had to say that. That was a bullshit layup. Because he drove. It was like a horrible attempt at a layup. And then he got lucky that he got the tip back. And then it went in and he got fouled.
Well, it's one of those Jeremy Lamb kind of maneuvers where there's 3 guys in the paint and he goes, oh, I'm going to drive right now. This is a good opportunity for me. And it's like, this is not a good opportunity.
It's just like, you know what? You should just stick to the 3-point line and just shoot it from there and just not take it to the hole.
But they're good. That's a good roster, actually. If you look at it, you got Kemba, you have Batum, you have Jeremy Lamb, you have Jefferson, you have Kaminsky, you have Spencer Hawes, he's playing better than he did on the Clippers.
MKG healthy?
Nah, he's out for the regular season, maybe back for playoffs.
He's defensive as hell, good defender, but his jump shot is horrendous.
Well, he's young too, though, isn't he? He's only like 25, 24,
He
25.
came out after 1 year in college, so he might only be 22.
But like you were
But
saying
yes.
before, like with Kawhi, saying how Kawhi is like that jump shot is hard to teach, and he learned it so quickly. I guess it's gonna take a little bit longer for MKG to learn it.
Once again, though, MKG was another player that Jordan was really high on, and why they drafted him because he liked his intensity. That's how Jordan drafts. Jordan's just like, you know something? You play with heart.
Gotti.
Well, you know what? In a league where it's harder and harder to play defense because they're changing the rules and hand checking and all that kind of stuff, you find a guy that's athletic that can play defense, you're going to take him pretty high and hope that his offense comes around at some point.
People don't come into the league with defense. You learn that, and that's really rare. So
that's why the Nuggets drafted Mudeo, whatever his name is, Mudeo, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mudiay. He
Well,
can't play. He can't score.
He's supposed to be the best pure point guard prospect in the draft. I mean, he can't shoot, he can't score, but you watch him handle the ball and pass the ball. I mean, he's at 6'5", 6'6". However, he's a big point guard. However, the fluidity and like the confidence in which he plays pure point guard is impressive.
The Knicks wanted him, didn't they? Or well, the Knicks were supposed to get him.
Yeah, they're supposed to get him, and then Porzingas came out of nowhere. Thank God.
All right, guys, I'm looking at
how the Knicks fans were saying on draft night.
Yeah, I texted Corey on draft night, and I was like, "Who the hell is this Porzingas dude?"
You did.
I'm like, "What's up with this Porzingas guy? I never even heard of him before."
I remember getting the text, and literally all Burger said was Porzingas ? ? Who the hell is this? And I went, I have no idea. I've never heard of him.
I mean, I wasn't mad because I don't expect much out of the draft. I don't expect much, and we should have had the second overall pick, but we got boned by the lottery draft. So, at that point, if you're gonna bust in the draft, you're gonna bust in the draft. I mean, what else could go wrong at this point?
But I mean, looking back on it, though, you guys actually did win.
You got the sleeper.
I'm just glad D'Angelo Russell didn't fall because Phil Jackson was supposedly in love with him, and if he was available, he would have taken him. Thank God the Lakers took him.
No, stop. You're back up. Don't be talking about D'Angelo like that. Last two games, okay. For as much as you guys follow me on Twitter. I don't know if you guys see me tweet a lot, but Brian Scott is a moron. I have no idea what he is doing with that team at all. Zero. First off, he said Nick Young said the Lakers are a circus. He goes, I'm not mad, Nick Young. But why hasn't Nick Young played the last 3 games? Oh, he's not in the doghouse. We're just trying different things. On that awful Laker team, you're going to tell me there's better options than Nick Young not playing for 3 straight games? And then you're supposed to be rebuilding, and you take Russell and Randall out of the starting lineup and bench them.
I think it's one of those processes where, you don't want to hurt a kid too young and really destroy his confidence when they're not playing well. So maybe you pull him out of the starting lineup and just kind of ease him back in and give him some minutes here and there. But I don't think you want them playing when they're struggling like that, playing 32, 30, 35 minutes and saying just go play through it. And then their confidence is going to get crushed if they're going to struggle that much.
This is where I'm going with it, though. The last 2 games since Russell got benched have been his best 2 games as a pro so far. He had 23 points against Minnesota, and he had 20 plus again last night, and he shot over 45% in both those games.
What I saw more of last night is they were playing him more off the ball than on. He wasn't being the primary ball handler, so I was giving him a little more, time to process and not have so much pressure on his shoulders to be the number 1 ball handler and try to get him into their offense and make plays.
They've been doing that a lot all season. They like running Clarkson at the point, or even they give Williams. They let Lou Will run the point, which makes Lou Will kind of feel thrown off, though. He says he doesn't like having the ball in his hand like that.
He's a good
as a facilitator.
He also doesn't like being in the starting lineup, and they put him in the starting lineup the last 2 games. So,
but it doesn't help. It's tough because I'm a huge Kobe fan. You guys know this. It's tough watching Kobe be this bad and still take this many shots. Like, you would think he'd be like, I probably shouldn't shoot 20 times this game. Nah, I'm just going to do it anyway.
What have you ever learned about Kobe that would make you think he's not going to put up 20 shots a game, even if he's struggling?
Wait a minute, Burger.
On his last
other night,
I mean, you know I don't like Kobe. I respect the hell out of him as a player, but you know I don't like him.
I know. The other night, he was like 2 for 18 from 3. And I'm sitting there like, why on earth are you taking 18 threes? And then second, Brian Scott, why aren't you at least saying, Kobe, like, you can shoot, like, I trust you. Do not take 18 threes in a game.
That is Kobe Bryant. You do not tell that man what to do. All right? Especially on his season.
Man, it drives me
once. All right?
If Scott said that to him, he'd be like, listen, I got 1 year left. We ain't making the playoffs. I'm taking as many fucking shots as I want. I'm getting my money's worth for these shots.
Fuck, I won. All right?
I mean, that's what he's doing, clearly.
He
just half court. I'm pulling from half court.
He'd be like, you got a problem with it? Go to the buses. And who's going to be here at the All-Star break if you go raise a problem to him? I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be here, and you're going to be on your ass somewhere.
But like I'm saying, Brian Scott, as idiotic as I think he is, him benching Russell has been a blessing so far in disguise because I haven't seen Russell play this good all season.
No,
and it makes me actually think that he can be okay in this league.
He only spent 1 year in college, and the Big Ten is one of the better basketball conferences, but it's not the most fast-paced. When you're looking at the Big Ten's you can just look at what Bo Ryan did with Wisconsin. They're slow it down, really play hard-nosed defensive ball. I mean, a lot of their games don't even get out of the 50s when they're watching the Big Ten play college basketball. It's not getting out of the 60s. So, like, it's not like the NBA where it's up and down, 24-second shot clock.
Well, that's what everybody forgets too. Like the rookies, I never really even realized till like we go to a pickup gym at Albany, a SEFQ, and we play in the gym. And there's kids that are good, like they're on the basketball team or they play at least, and you can tell by how fast the game gets, like the pace of the game. And this is a pickup game, and I'm not even used to how fast the game is, so I can only imagine the difference between college and the pros of how quick the game is moving for these players. And I think that's the biggest thing for Russell. And we aren't seeing issues with Porzingas and Towns, obviously.
Well, you're seeing these guys, and what percentage of the guys they're playing in college? There's so many teams, there's so many schools, there's so many players in the rosters. What percentage of those guys you think are going in the NBA that they're playing against? So, like, obviously,
it's like one in every.
They're going to dominate those guys. And then when they get to the NBA, everybody is just as good as you are. And that's the first time in their life they've ever experienced that. Where high school, college, they're dominant, and they come to the NBA. Oh, man, everybody's just as good as me. So I got to figure out something to do to get my shot off or be successful. They got to figure out something else.
It's crazy. You go to you're in college, and like these guys, literally, you're playing like a bunch of scrubs. Well, not all scrubs. Of course, you have like those sorts. But then, like, you're playing, like, some of the whacker teams. You're like, oh, I'm going to fucking dominate. Like, I'm fucking me. But then, that's when my brother tells me he stopped watching college football because of the reason that there's blowouts. Like, there's teams that are great, and then there's teams that suck. So it's like he doesn't want to see a game where it's like 70 to freaking 30. That's why he stopped watching it. That's why he only likes watching professional football now. But, like, it's a complete difference. It's just a complete change. And it's like, I remember they had some talk. I don't know. I'm getting off basketball. I'm going to football. They were saying that the number one, it was like Ohio State, I think, or something like that. They were like the number one college team, and that they could beat the worst football team in the league. I think it was like the Raiders. And then they were like, are you kidding me? Like the Raiders, like it wouldn't even be a competition.
Oh, they were saying that Alabama could beat like Jacksonville.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it wouldn't even be a competition. Like, Jacksonville would blow them out. Like, the difference is, like, crazy. Like, the defense would, like, kill them.
Yeah. Tell that to Trent Richardson. You think he proved that he can't run through a professional defensive line. I mean,
can we not talk about Trent Richardson here? I lost some draft pick for the Colts to Trent Richardson who did absolutely nothing for 2 years. Not bring up Trent Richardson. who is not even in the NFL now. Way to go, bud.
And then everybody wants to draft Derrick Henry number 1 overall next year. Yeah, go right ahead with that.
I still think the guy from LSU is going to be the best. Fournette or whatever.
Go for another year. He's only a sophomore.
Oh, really? Well, even better because he fell off second half of this year.
I gotta get into college, even though what I just said, but I gotta because I don't know who the prospects are that's coming in. Like in the NBA, I know all the prospects are after draft night. Like I said, I know who's nice, and after watching them and stuff, I know who's nice. But I don't know who's coming in and who could be potentially nice.
You know who's nice coming into the NBA? Ben Simmons. I'm really high on Ben Simmons.
The only thing I like about that is he's at LSU. I mean, the SEC as a basketball conference isn't the ACC. It's not the Big Ten. It's not even the Pac-12. And he's playing. I mean, there's some good teams down there, but he's not playing the best of the best competition week in and week out. Once the conference season ends.
Did you see his stat sheet the other night, or it might have been 2 weeks ago? Where he had 45 points.
I'm not denying that he's good. I was watching. They had the high school championship on last year on ESPN, and I was watching that, and he was just, you could tell his body size, the way he plays, the confidence he is, that he's going to be a great player. But I'm just saying, in terms of competition, if you're trying to be, the number 1 overall draft pick, you're really going to go to LSU, or you're going to try to get into one of the better schools.
Now, is he a small forward or a power?
He's 6'9", so I think he plays, more of the 5 right now in college. But when he comes out, he's going to be more of a undersized power forward or small forward.
Oh, no. You know what that means? Whose mic is that?
We're good.
Never mind. I thought of myself. But I hope he does not get drafted by the 76ers. I hope he doesn't. It will hurt him because of the style he plays. He needs to go to either Brooklyn or the Lakers. And actually, the Lakers wouldn't even make sense unless he goes to play a small forward and can shoot. And he can't shoot yet, to my knowledge.
I can't even talk about this.
Yeah, we'll see.
I gotta start watching.
All right, tonight the Warriors play the Bucks. They're going for 25-0, I believe. Yes or no, guys? We're gonna wrap this up.
No. As much as I hate to say it, it's probably not gonna happen.
I think they'll be 25-0.
I mean, we talked about this on the last show. I think they're gonna go all the way till Christmas, and I think LeBron is gonna have the fully healthy Cavs. The Warriors are gonna be fully healthy. And just like I predicted last year in the finals, they were both healthy. Cavs are going to win.
Put LeBron.
Because last year, LeBron's not going to guard Curry.
LeBron on Curry, man.
That wouldn't work.
Let's go back to the playoffs. Derrick Rose killing. Who did they put on D Rose?
Bring up that.
They're going to put Shump on Curry.
He's out of his defensive prime. But still. And Curry is more of a technical player. He's not as Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose relied just solely off athleticism and his quickness.
Well, like I said last night, we were talking. Curry's handles are for elusiveness to be able to create a shot, not to drive. Kyrie and Rose, they had handles to drive past you, not to create a shot.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing about Curry's handles right now is when he came out of Davidson, everybody said this guy can't create his own shot. He can't create his own shot at the next level. And now look at him. He's dribbling behind his back between 3 guys, stepping back and hitting threes, and everybody's just, oh, my God, look at the handles on Steph Curry.
Yeah. I actually saw a picture where it showed weaknesses next to him, and it was just a long line. It's the system he fits in doesn't show how he's going to be in the NBA. Relies too much on the 3-point shot. Certain yada yada.
I mean, I don't think you know this, Barry. I told Jose this, but on draft night, the year that Curry was drafted, he was supposed to be a Phoenix Sun. The Suns had a trade worked out to send Amari and a couple other guys to the Warriors for Stephen Curry. for the Curry draft pick. And the Warriors agreed to it. And then after the Suns said, draft Curry, the Warriors the next day put out an ad saying the future and then said, actually, we're going to keep Curry on second thought. But he was supposed to be a Phoenix Sun to learn under Nash.
Can you imagine the numbers he would have put up in that Phoenix system? He'd average 40 a game in Phoenix's system.
Yeah, and he learned under Steve Nash. He'd probably be a better passer, too.
I think it's passing.
Man,
He's passing where it needs to be.
I mean, he's an underrated passer. Curry's an underrated passer. It's fair to say.
I mean, he's not pass first by any means. But
I mean, the only time he passes first is he passes to somebody and he runs around a couple screens. It comes off and hits a three.
give me right back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. You guys have anything else you want to talk about? All right. That's it then. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Mambas Nest. We will be back here next week on Saturday at 11:30 to 12:30 again. Jose will not be doing that. We hope to see Berger next week again. Thank you guys and have a great day.